again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode 42 of the DrunkFriend podcast. As always, we're your host. I'm Travis of NestFriend. That's Alex of SNESDrunk. And today, it's not just the two of us nerds talking about things. We've welcomed a third nerd here. We have Pam of Cannot Be Tamed. Hello, Pam. Welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me on again.
The three of us were just having the oldest discussion that I think I've had with people that I consider to be my age. I got on here, Alex told me, he's like, go look at my Instagram, I'm so tired. Just for me to see a picture of him tired so I'd believe it. And then you get on here talking about back pain. I got a hip that's been acting up. I mean, are we falling apart, YouTubers? What's going on?
Yeah, probably. It reminds me of that, I remember a long time ago, pre-scandal, Louis C.K. had a joke about, like, he went to see the doctor about his ankle, and, I guess he expected, like, some sort of, like, procedure or physical therapy or something like that. He got, like, an x-ray done, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's your ankle's pretty bad. And Louis C.K.'s like, well, what do I do? He's like, oh, nothing, it's just shitty now. You just have to live with that the rest of your life. It's just the way it is. It's like, that's kind of how I feel, where it's like, yeah, my left knee, my right ankle, my left shoulder, they're just crap, you know. They're just, yeah, they're used frequently, and they're not getting any better. So it's just like, learn to love it, because they ain't going away.
Pam, what happened to your back? Did you have to contort yourself to fit the dog in the bed? How'd it happen?
I know what that's about.
I don't know what happened. I didn't, like, exercise or do anything out of the norm. I went, like, trudging through the snow yesterday, but that shouldn't make my back hurt. Like, I'm totally used to, like, upper back and neck pain just randomly out of nowhere, but this was, like, middle back, so I was like, I don't know. It's a whole new kind of pain for me.
That's the worst when you get a new kind of pain. That's never a fun surprise. You know, I have some foot stuff going on with me, and I've been trying to run because I'm training for, if you remember episode 30, we did that episode where we interviewed Tara, who ran 72 or whatever, just too many miles in a day.
7,200 miles?
7,300 miles in a day. And she wasn't tied to a station wagon or anything. She did that on her own. And she talked me into signing up for a 25K later this year. So at some point, I mean, the clock's ticking. I got to figure out how to run that long, right? So I've been trying to practice in my house on my treadmill because it's been snowy out. But my feet, they're just all kinds of messed up. So I said, okay, we got to go to a doctor, get this checked out. So I've been having some pain with it, like some surface issues, bruising and stuff like that. And it's like, maybe it's a shoe thing I'm not figuring out. So I go in there and I have my sock off, and the doctor walks in, doesn't say hi to me, doesn't say, hey, how you doing? I'm Dr. Such and Such. He just looks in at my foot and says, Raynaud's disease, look it up. And I was like, you're the doctor. Why am I? I did WebMD before I got here.
Did you just leave after that?
He didn't. I fought back on it because I was like, well, I have looked it up, and I don't think that's what it is. But I had to talk him into giving me an x-ray. He was like, fine, we can do an x-ray if you want. And I was like, yeah, I literally came here so that you would take good, hard looks at my foot. Like, I didn't come here for you to roll the dice on it, man. So he was kind of a douche, but we're making some progress, I think. But be careful with the podiatrist out there. They're a arrogant bunch.
Does this guy got, like, a bet with another doctor? Like, watch this. Like, I'm just going to walk in, I'm going to close my eyes and be like, Raynaud's disease.
Yeah. I think so.
And, like, one out of every 100 times he's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I don't even think he was a doctor. Just some guy.
Some guy. Yeah, that's happened to me, too, though. I have a weird kind of eczema that shows up on my hands, like, once every November, I want to say. It doesn't matter where I am in the country or anything like that. It's the most bizarre thing ever. I've never been able to get any kind of, help from any doctors because everybody's always been like, huh, that's weird. Oh, your hands are just messed up, I guess. You know, it's just the way it is. And then I saw this other guy, Dr. Kumar. I'll never forget this dude because he was just like so matter of fact, like, oh yeah, this dyshydrosis. That's a classic case. That's some quality dyshydrosis right there. And I was like, holy shit, you're the first person to ever actually like tell me what this is. Like, oh yeah, I remember doing a project about that, blah, 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 blah. Here's incidental story, anecdotes, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's like looking at it like, yeah, It's like, thank God, finally somebody. I guess you just need to run into the right person or something.
Yeah, I guess
it's like
so.
a relationship. You just need to. There should be a Tinder, but for doctors.
Dude, that's a really good point. And another thing this doctor did that aggravated me was he just wrote down 3 things he thought it was on a yellow Post-it note and handed it to me when I left. Like, he didn't give me any advice. He was just like, here's 3 things it could be. We'll see you later. Like, what if it were these things? Then would you do something? Like, what am I supposed to do with this fucking Post-it note? So
Nah, then you just, you Google it, just like I'm sure Pam was Googling middle back pain, not lower, not upper, but middle back pain, like what that is and how that happens, if it's a muscle thing or what.
Yeah, I wanted to be like, do you want me to just take this to an actual doctor? Is that what you're asking me to do? But yeah, well, I think Old Person Corner, we can put it behind us. It's a new segment here on the show. I hope everybody liked it.
It pretty much is. We might as well just make it official.
Yeah, sometimes we do Old Man Weather Corner, but, we phased out of that a little bit. It's been crummy weather for a while. We can't always be negative.
My high school friend, Gretchen, I remember one time we were we talked through email. That's how old we are. We just have like email chains of certain subjects and we just go on and on about certain stuff. I remember one time we were just like, you ever just eat a tomato just to eat it? We're both like, yeah, tomatoes are good, huh? Yeah, good tomatoes. That was it.
Yeah, that's a good old person conversation. I think I recall my dad having that conversation before with me in the room. Yeah.
Just put a little salt on it.
See?
They are good. They're delicious, especially like green tomatoes, yeah.
Heck yeah. We're still not out of Old Person Corner yet. We almost made it. I'm going to force us out of it now. We shifted on into YouTube video corner since that's something that we all do. Maybe you can start off with Pam. You had Conquest of the Crystal Palace come out recently. It's one of those games that has a good dog in it. And, as an NES fan myself, I'm ashamed I'm not very familiar with that game, but your video was very enlightening.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually the first place I saw a video of it was Norm did a video about it like 7 years ago or something. Before he got really into like the history stuff. Yeah, and then I watched SNES Drunk's video on it just recently as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just love dogs in games. I'm thinking about just dedicating a video to best dogs in video games. So Conquest of the Crystal Palace was a fun one. Like, it's another one of those sort of overlooked games that like looks really good, it plays really well. So it's got a very cool item shop in it in addition to the dog.
Is the dog what drew you to it? Were you like, oh, I want to try this. Looks like there's some dog action. Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah, for sure.
Isn't there a website or something where they will, like, if a new game comes out, they tell you whether or not you can pet the dog or a dog in it?
Yes. It's a Twitter feed.
It's a Twitter feed. Okay, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That might be something you could base your videos on.
That's a good idea. And a lot of time, if they come out and say you can't pet the dog in this game, the developers will then put in a patch and make it so you can pet the dog.
Gotta love that.
Changing the world one game at a time.
Yep.
So where would the Shiba Inu from Silent Hill 2 place on your dog power rankings when it comes to dogs in video games?
I've never played Silent Hill 2, but I have seen the cutscene. I mean, pretty high. That dog seems pretty powerful. So
I just love the it's so cute. It's got like a headset on and it's in front of this giant control panel and it's looking all serious. Yeah, that'd be close to number one for me, if not number one.
Did you outright earn that ending when you played that, Alex, or is this just something you've picked up?
It's just something I stumbled across when watching an LP of it years and years and years ago. It was so unexpected. I just got such a kick out of it and just laughed my ass off. So yeah, I haven't spent that much time with Silent Hill 2, but if that dog were in the game the whole time, it would probably be my most favorite game ever.
I think isn't Pearl? She has an affinity for dogs in video games. I seem to see her tweet a lot of dog related.
Yeah, she follows them. I don't know what her go-to would be for dogs. Probably the Fallout dog.
Oh right, yeah.
What the heck is it? Yeah.
Dog meat.
Dog meat. Yeah, I was gonna say emergency food supply, but that's from Excel Saga.
You wouldn't be wrong. You'd just be saying it different. But
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah, Conquest of the Crystal Palace is one of those games. It's probably shot up in price like crazy, though, I'm guessing. But it's one of those games, we're going to get Metal Jesus' lawyers after us again, but it's a hidden gem because it really is one of those like non-first party, non-Capcom, Konami game that's like really polished. It doesn't have that like jank to it from like an unknown developer. It's really there's not a lot of like sour surprises in it. It's really good. It's really polished, and I love the shop mechanic in it where and the shop girl there is really cute along with the dog too. It's just a really good package of a lot of fun stuff.
It's not too pricey. It's only like $30, which is in the grand scheme of things not terrible.
Yeah, that's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's also, I find a lot of the hidden gems are ones that released after the Super Nintendo came out, and this one was 1990, so it was like just before. So I'm not sure why it's so hidden.
I wonder if it got any coverage in Nintendo Power at the time, or what. That's interesting.
That's a good question. For some reason, and I could be just making up a false memory, but I feel like I can see it inside of a Nintendo Power when I close my eyes. Who knows? I'm always seeing Nintendo Powers when I close my eyes.
You should like see a doctor for that.
Well, he probably won't help.
He'd probably write 3 things on a Post-it note and then tell you to go.
He'll just write SNES Drunk URLs on there and tell me to go look it up.
Well, Trav, you looked at Infiltrator.
I did. Took a good, hard, long look at it. Yeah.
Which presumably has you infiltrate things.
It does. Yeah, you will. That is the point. And
it actually looked not so great.
It's not
based
fun.
On, yeah.
On the surface, looking at it, from the cockpit, like if you squint hard enough, you're like, not bad. But when you play it for more than a minute, you're like, bad. It's very tedious, and you got to have the manual to even know what's up. I mean, it makes you do really mundane helicopter-y things that I'm not sure you really have to do in an actual helicopter. Like flying an actual helicopter potentially could be easier in real life. But it does force you to do all that. And then the next part of it's just a spy versus spy knockoff situation. So it's very mundane and repetitive and not all that interesting. But, I put in the work. We got the video out. People are in there dogging it in the comments like I suspected they would, and I'm there for it. I agree with them.
Well, yeah, you got to check out the cover. It's a port from, it went from, Europe PC land, basically, with all Commodore, Atari 8-bits, and all that, ZX Spectrum, all that crap. Here's the cover. I just posted it in the chat. And they're taking advantage of this by saying it's the game that rocked America. Come on.
Yeah. They're not very specific about what part of America, though. You have to key in on that.
The game that rocked Jackson, Mississippi, or Tallahassee, or Kalamazoo, Michigan, or
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, I doubt either of you have had much experience with that game. But an interesting thing about it is that for some reason, I didn't own many games growing up, but my brother had given me this small stack of hand-me-down NES games, and the only game that I owned for 20 years that was complete in box was Infiltrator. So it was always kind of a prized possession because it'd be like, guys, check out my games in this one, complete in box. And they'd be like, that one looks gross. I'm like, I know, but it's in the box. Come on. But that's all I got on Infiltrator. But hey, Alex, you had a pretty interesting week. You maybe convinced yourself that there was a caveman game out there that's not completely trite and terrible.
Well, I mean, Joe and Mac 2 are good.
Right. True.
Those are caveman games that aren't completely terrible. But the one that just posted on Nintendo Switch Online, Prehistoric Man, I looked at that one like 5 years ago, I think. I just grouped all the caveman games together in one video, and it was one of those, it's one of those games you play for a little while, and for one reason or another, you just set it aside, and it's like utterly forgettable, and it's like, all right, fine, this exists. And then when I revisited again this past week, I was like, oh, crap, this is why I didn't like it. It's because the camera makes me nauseous. like when you move from left to right suddenly, which this game forces you to do often, you feel like your eyes are like bouncing around in your head because the camera is so bad in this game. I can't stand stuff like that. So it's real easy to just like give it a thumbs down just based on that. But I tried to, point out all the strengths and all that sort of stuff. And, it's a nice looking game. The music's good. And you can tell the people that made it actually gave a crap. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Like there's shops where you can buy stuff, and they have an interesting way of getting around a password in a save system by buying life insurance. So while the game, if you shut the power off to the system, it's, there's no way you can't get your progress back, but you can still hit the reset button or whatever else, and the life insurance will bring you back to the shop that you bought it from. So as long as you keep the system on, at least there's that. So
right.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
but
it definitely ended up looking better than I expected, just based on the title. Like, it seems like a very generic title. Like, I almost thought that it was also going to be some weird port from like an Amiga or something.
Oh, it is, yeah, and it's not a direct port,
right?
But it's an Amiga-ass game, yeah.
Yeah, that's
sure.
right. I think you say that in the video too, but it looks more polished than you might expect with that bit of information. But I also didn't even notice the camera until you pointed out that you didn't like it, and then I keyed in on it, and then I was like, no, there's no way. That was making me dizzy.
Yeah, I guess I'm just sensitive to that sort of stuff because I get that almost right away. There's a couple other games that do that. I just can't remember them off the top of my head. I remember Jim Power was one of them. It's like, screw that game. Game can go to hell. Ugh, gross. But yeah, Prehistoric Man, it's not for me, but it does have that neat little, percentage counter at the end of each level. All the levels are all pretty big, so it rewards you for exploring and taking your time. There's no time limit or anything, so I can see how somebody might like it, but it's not for me, that's for damn sure.
Gotcha.
The Simpsons Arcade, I just decided to do a Let's Play for that. It's like 40 minutes long. Because for something like that, if I were to do like a regular video like I normally do, it'd be like 90 seconds long.
Right.
Like, yeah, here's it's The Simpsons. It's this game. Everybody already knows this game. It's a great representation of the source material. It looks great. It's 4-player. The end.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say. So I thought it would be more fun if I just played through the whole thing.
Very cool. Good week. Good job, everybody. We've done it. We've done YouTube stuff. Congrats.
Yay.
There'll be more YouTube talk later. We're not completely...
Are we taking a break now or what?
I don't know. I don't know what. I'm bad at segues. We're all tired. We're old. I get to use that excuse. My foot hurts. My doctor didn't help me. Okay. Let's get into some emails. First one here says, "Hi, Trav and Alex. Longtime listener, first-time emailer into the show. I don't have a commute anymore since COVID, but DrunkFriend made the cut of the few podcasts I'm still able to keep up with. So thank you." This is from Joe, by the way.
Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. He has a couple questions here. Number one, since your YouTube channels are not your full-time jobs, what motivates you to play through some of the real craptacular games on your respective systems that someone playing casually would just move on from? So I'll stop here. We can answer this one. Start with Pam, maybe. Pam, I see like your channel is not so much about doing an entire library or something. You seem to kind of float toward things that interest you already, so maybe you don't have to force yourself to play craptacular games. But in the event that maybe the review turns out to be poor in favor of the game, or not in favor of the game, how do you handle that?
Well, it depends on the game, really. Sometimes, like, I don't feel a need to finish something. It doesn't happen often, but, like, I think Kid Chameleon was the biggest one that happened, and I was just like, I'm not enjoying this, but I feel like I've played enough to give my opinion on it. Whereas on other ones, like I did Adventures of Dino Ricky a few months ago, and I just got so mad, and it was just like a personal challenge where I'm like, I'm gonna beat this stupid game, and then I'm gonna trash it in a video, and that'll make me feel better. So yeah, so I don't generally like seek out games that I don't think I'm going to enjoy, or a lot of the time if I think, oh, maybe I'm gonna do a review of this, and I play it for 5 minutes and I'm just like, nah, gonna pass on this one. So it really depends on the game, how much time I put into it. If I like feel I've got this like sunk cost fallacy, it's like, well, I've already done this much, I may as well just suffer just a little more. So
does Kid Chameleon actually end?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of levels, though.
It feels like it doesn't. It's the game that never ends. But yeah, I remember the Dino Ricky game. If to me, I got the vibe from you on that video that you really felt compelled to go out and tell people, like you're Paul Revere, like, riding on a horse, like warning everybody, like not to play the game. So I appreciated that aspect of it. But yeah, there was definitely some emotion, some gritted teeth there a bit. Yeah, for me, I always go back to how I felt as a kid toward how unfair it felt that I only had access to like 5% of the Super Nintendo library. I always say library. I hate that word. Library. And that's through rent, and how much of that is through rentals, and I'm subject to whatever might be checked in on any given weekend. So I just try and relish the opportunity to be able to play whatever I want. Even if it is something like Prehistoric Man or Pit Fighter or Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball. But
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, stuff like that is just and plus I've always, I just want to know what these games are, so I don't have to keep asking that, and then I can move on.
I kind of have a I won't say morbid curiosity, but in the way of in the gaming world, I guess it's just jank curiosity. Like, I can go into a game knowing that this isn't going to be the best game I've ever played, but I still might find some value in how ridiculously bad it is, just because maybe it gives me some funny line to say in a video, or at the very least, it's amusing because it's like, wow, what the hell were they thinking with this? So I don't know. I think of all of the games that I've done, and I've not made as many videos as you guys, of course, so my experiences are a little fewer, but the worst experience that I've had for some reason was the second and third Back to the Future game. Like, that was such a slog. And I've played worse games. I played Infiltrator, but at least I had some curiosity. I'm like, what were they doing? Where's this going? But I knew the source material for Back to the Future, and then I played that game, and I was like, this is bad. This is just, this is awful. So there's only been a couple of times, or just one time that I can think of, where I was like, I don't know if I could keep doing this. It's awful.
Yeah. Well, plus, one thing you just reminded me of is that I am a massive, massive fanboy for Mystery Science Theater 3000. So I love anything to do with, like, bad movies, bad games, bad music, and that sort of stuff. And just kind of, it's like, oh, this poor little game, someone made this. Someone really put effort into this little thing, and it exists. Poor thing. Yeah, so.
All right. We'll take question 2 here then. He says, if you are able, can you go into some detail regarding your retro gaming setups? In my mind, Trav is a game collector, so I'm thinking that he's more of a purist, only playing on original hardware, whereas Alex has more play it any way you can mentality. Am I in the ballpark with my assumptions? And of course, we'll let Pam weigh in too. You pretty much nailed it with me. But I do use an EverDrive, an NES EverDrive cart, just for ease. I mean, otherwise I'm just constantly switching cartridges in and out and cleaning them constantly. And so I do rely on that. But I do use the original Nintendo. I have used original cartridges before, but you just can't beat the for the sake of footage, and even utilizing some of the cheat functions to get footage from places in the game that you aren't skilled enough to get to. You just can't beat a good EverDrive experience.
Well, now we're going to get inundated with emails talking about how we're not real gamers.
I know. We're not. We're just scrappy YouTubers.
We're fake gamers, Trev.
Yep, famers.
Yeah, that's pretty much on the nose for me too. I have for Super Nintendo stuff, I have a SD2 SNES Pro flash cart, and the analog Super NT, which is super nifty, really nice. But I do have the my original Super Nintendo still there, even though it is kind of slowly deteriorating, sadly. But yeah, I have an NES EverDrive. I have the Mega EverDrive for Genesis, and I do use a lot of like MAME and FB Alpha and whatever else for arcade stuff. So yeah, any way I can. What about you, Pam?
I sort of do a little bit of both. So for Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis, I will have the actual cartridges, but I play them on a Retron, which I know is just dumping the ROM and basically like emulating it, but you need the actual cart to play it. I just like not having to have 3 separate systems and being able to do it all in one, and also save states, without which I may not finish much.
Yes.
So, but then the disc-based things, which are harder to get one of those sort of clone consoles for, like I've got a PS2 and XI hooked up, and I just sort of play those through that. I play everything on a flat screen TV, so I use a RetroTink to get an HDMI output signal on those. I do want to do some more Sega stuff, so I am actually going to be first reviewing and then playing on an EverDrive cart for the Sega stuff, because I don't really want to collect for any more systems, but I would like to play more like Genesis games or maybe some Master System.
Cool.
Yeah, that reminds me, I didn't mention the TV. I do have both a tiny little viewing monitor that's like a 9-inch screen that I usually use with through a FrameMeister thingy. And then I also have like my normal TV, which I have mounted. It's just a regular old like 40-inch LCD screen. But to me, when it comes to, I don't want to know. Yeah, excuse me. I want to know what you guys think of this. Like, what is, when it comes to playing this stuff? What is the most important stuff that you need to make sure you get a handle of? Because for me, I got to make sure I get the input lag as minimal as possible, so I can really get the right kind of experience that I'm looking for. And I need to make sure, once that's out of the way, I need to make sure I'm playing the game with the original controller. I think that's a big deal, too. What about you folks?
I don't really have an issue with the input lag with my setup, so it's fortunately not something I've had to worry about. But I do like playing with the original hardware, like the controller and or light gun or whatever. I mean, you can do, light gun games are difficult to do with emulation, so
that became like a deal where I can't remember what game it was or what controller it was, but I wasn't using, I think it was a Genesis game, and I was using a Super Nintendo controller like on an emulator, and I'm like, this just isn't right. Like, how am I going to accurately judge this game if I'm playing using a freaking Super Nintendo controller? And that was kind of like a eureka moment. I was like, oh yeah, I should really think about getting a Mega EverDrive.
I like to have the original controller too, although I will admit that sometimes I play NES games with a Super Nintendo controller just because the NES controller is just the edges are so hard and they dig into my fingers and it hurts. But generally I like to have the original controller, and I don't tend to notice lag. Like, I've had other people sit down and like play a game that I'm playing, and they're like, how are you playing this? This is so laggy, and I don't really even notice it. So that doesn't really bother me as much. But I have a total mental block for PC versus console. Like, I know you can emulate all kinds of stuff on like a PC emulator, but like, I do not want to play a console game on a PC ever.
Interesting.
Is that just because it's like not a accurate representation of what it was originally intended for, or
I just
why do you
like
think
to
that is?
Sit in my nice comfy recliner in front of a television and not have to worry about the rest of it. Sitting at a desk. Desks suck.
So you don't want to get like work email notifications while you're playing Mario 3? Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, I can empathize with that. My setup was originally, because at first I was using a RetroPie to do this like at my computer desk, and like 2 videos in I was like, my ass hurts. I need to move to a different room. So then I set up my more permanent setup where I could relax. And all right, so to wrap up this email, Joe G here says, special shout out to Alex's Nintendo Music compilations. They've been fantastic to listen to while working from home all these months. Cheers. So thank you, Joe G, for that email.
Cheers, Joe. Oh, is that my turn to talk?
It could be. It could absolutely be. Yep.
Hola, intoxicated amigos. I am aggressively sober right now. So, Champion of Burgers back to pick at your brains. It's our friend Burger Champ.
Hell yeah.
Also, to ask you a question, what NES game or series do you think benefited the most in a subsequent entry or entries on the Super Nintendo? So, he's asking, like, what series, by benefited, I'm wondering if he means, like, benefited long-term, or was just, like, the best leap from NES to Super Nintendo?
I'm just going to jump in and get my answer out because I think it's super obvious, and I don't want you guys to steal it. I think Metroid benefited a lot from Super Metroid in terms of legacy and becoming a mainstay in the Nintendo franchise. So, if that's what he's looking for, I think that's a good answer. Yeah,
I think that's the most. That's the most obvious answer right there. It's got to be Super Metroid. But shout out to Castlevania 4 and Mega Man X and what's the other one? Contra 3. Turtles in Time, all that stuff. God, Capcom and Konami used to kick so much ass. It's just ridiculous what's happened to them.
So does anyone have an answer that's not any of those?
Yeah. Any hidden gems, Pam?
Well, I've only played like 12 Super Nintendo games, so
Did you hear that,
a
Alex?
lot of the ones.
What?
Yeah. I never had a Super Nintendo growing up, so like I just got into it recently.
So, I mean, what about Mario? You've played Mario World, I hope.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And I don't think it's like I wouldn't say that's a huge leap from Mario 3. Like, obviously it's technically more impressive, but I don't feel like it benefited as much as say like a Super Castlevania 4. And I never played the original Metroid, so I mean, by looking at it, I can tell how big of an upgrade Super is, but
Yeah.
And then I guess I was playing A Link to the Past, which I need to get back to. That was a pretty big improvement over the original Legend of Zelda, which I'm actually not a fan of. So,
boo. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think I'm with you on Mario. I don't think, in retrospect anyway, that Mario World is that big of a leap over Mario 3, especially because Mario 3 has those themed worlds like the giant world, and it just feels like more fun. They had a little bit more fun with it. It was the pinnacle of NES, whereas Mario World's just the beginning of another console where it's very far from realizing its full potential.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. He does. The champion of burgers does have another question here. He also wants to know what game or series do you think squandered the move from NES to SNES? Now that's a good one.
Nothing seems as obvious as the whole Metroid thing from earlier, so I can't steal an answer, unfortunately. So I don't know. Was there like
I mean, my first answer would be like, the first place my brain goes to is Super Adventure Island, just because Adventure Island 3, and then the Adventure Island 4 that never came to the US, at least on NES, is another one that was just like really fun, light years ahead of Super Adventure Island. But then they kind of made up with it with Super Adventure Island 2 for Super Nintendo, where it was more like a Monster World game than just a basic, side scroller. So I think that'd probably be my answer.
Man, nothing really comes to mind that's just jumping out at me for this one.
Well, the champion of burgers comes back with, what about PS1 to PS2? Is there a game or series that which one benefited the most? Which one kind of squandered it the most? For squandered, I'd go with Metal Gear Solid, just because the first game is fun and the rest of the games are not.
That seems like a valid opinion to have here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 45-minute cutscenes with horribly stilted dialogue and just art school crap, and just get out of here.
I'd say Star Ocean again, just because Star Ocean on PS1 was fantastic and the rest were not. So
I didn't know there were Star Ocean for PS2.
yeah, Till the End of Time, or I don't know, there's two I always get confused. One's on 360 and one's on PS2.
Yep, Till the End of Time. Third game in the Star Ocean series. Okay. Yeah, same developer, Tri-Ace. So interesting. I didn't even know that existed. I know all about Second. We actually own Second Story, but yeah, I didn't even know this existed. So that would probably be why, because it must not be very good.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things, like even like Suikoden going from like that beautiful, beautiful pixel art in 2 to like the weird blank anime faces in 3 is. I haven't played 3 yet, but like just visually, it's like, ugh, why?
Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. You pretty much nailed it with the blank anime faces. Yeah, it does the. Yeah, it's just they're expressionless. Mm-hmm. Whereas, yeah, the PS1 games, yeah, you've got the little character portraits and stuff like that, and it's just full of life and stuff like. Yeah, it's so much better. Pixel art is aged 1,000 times better than so many early 3D games. It's I will go to my grave.
Oh yeah,
shaking my fist at the sky.
Yeah, 3D puberty was rough on all of us. Let's be honest.
Yeah, big time.
Burger Champ, those were good. Those questions were so good, it shut us up. We were thinking most of the time, they're not talking a lot, so we apologize to the crowd, but we thank you, Burger Champ. Those are very good questions. We'll move on here to email number 3. And we have another guy who everyone just seems to like to call us amigos and stuff, which is, I guess that's cool. He says, hey there, amigos borrachos. I don't know if that was a typo or maybe I just don't know that Spanish word, but borrachos. Okay. Hello, Mr. Borracho, yourself. He says, I love that you insist on reading Happy Holidays emails apparently year-round. I just wanted to wish you all and the podcast listeners happy holidays. May you have a Merry Valentine's Day and a Happy President's Day. In a couple of weeks, I'll have to write you again to wish you a Happy National Crab Stuffed Flounder Day, followed by, of course, a Merry Tartar Sauce Day. I love the holidays. Sincerely, some guy not named Mark. And I think the best part of reading that email now is that he wrote that well ahead, thinking we would definitely get it by Valentine's Day, and we still didn't. So, thank you, some guy not named Mark. Happy holidays to you as well, sir. He had no question, unless maybe we could answer, what is our favorite holidays? I think mine's Halloween.
Well, I want to know about this National Stuffed or Crab Stuffed Flounder Day.
Is that
Give me
real?
some of that. I don't know.
I just Googled it, and it auto-filled before I got to stuffed. It is Thursday, February 18th. It's tomorrow, folks. Heck yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just in time.
See, I'm starting to like certain seafood. So I'm all about that.
Actually, I want to correct. I said it's tomorrow, but this podcast doesn't come out for a week. So, Mark, happy retro belated National Crab Stuffed Flounder Day. I hope it was good. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, email us your favorite National Crab Stuffed Flounder Day recipes. I would very much love to read those.
So you like seafood now? Was that not a thing with you before, Alex?
I'm allergic to a lot of stuff, and I didn't want to like roll the dice with something I knew I would probably react poorly to. But I love fish. I love salmon, especially. Swordfish is delicious. Especially with asparagus, you just, throw it in the oven with like tons of butter, with like slice up some lemons, put that on there too. It's delicious.
I'm pretty open to seafood. This is a conversation. Pam, do you like seafood?
I do. I ate salmon today.
Heck yeah.
I'm jealous.
Nice. And also, I also looked up, I said also twice. I looked up Tartar Sauce Day. That's actually on March 3rd. So we do have one to look forward to if we want to plan for that.
Yes. I will plan for it. I don't mind tartar sauce. I don't. I think most sauces, like especially things like mayonnaise, they get like a bad rap because certain restaurants and certain people, for that matter, don't use them properly. It feels like they get kind of slathered on instead of just used in moderation.
Yeah, I agree. I think Burger King was what turned me against mayonnaise when I was a kid. They must have had a surplus that they needed to get rid of, or the guy in the back of ours just had it like in the back of like a shotgun and just, it was way too much. Way too much. You could like smell it from outside in the parking lot and be like, wow, it's mayonnaise. Ugh, what's going on? Is it sitting on like a mayonnaise is like well or something. I don't know how mayonnaise works.
Yeah, he's got to keep the mayonnaise impresario in line. He's got to keep him on his good side. Otherwise, he's got some dirt on him or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I made the mistake. This was so long ago. This was like in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, I think. I made the mistake of it was the person I was dating at the time. We went to Subway, and I was like, no, I don't want anything to eat or anything like that. And she was insistent, you have to get something. You can't just sit there. So I got a salad from Subway, and it was some sort of spinach thing where they seriously just put like a bunch of iceberg lettuce and crap and green stuff, threw it into a bowl, and I watched them in horror as they like took this giant tub of mayo and just like put like 5 pumps of mayo into it, and then took a big spoon and like mixed it together. And yeah, when I got that, I can't believe I paid $3 for this. I'm just gonna sit here and stare at it, and hopefully I'll get my money's worth that way. But it was horrifying. So that scared me off of mayo for many, many years. But I really like it now. I like it on a sandwich as long as it's got enough stuff in it to complement. Everything should complement each other on a good sandwich. So mayo's part of the equation.
Mm-hmm. I like to dip my French fries in mayo.
Oh, I never tried that. I'll have to try that now too. Have you ever done that, Trav?
No, I'm not a huge mayo fan. Mayo to me is like ketchup to Pam. We're very polar opposites on our condiment opinions.
Really? You don't like ketchup?
Nope. Occasionally. I grew up not liking it. Now I will occasionally dip a French fry in a tiny bit of ketchup, but like I don't want it on my burger. I don't want it on basically anything else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, where else would you use ketchup? Like, that's pretty much all I use it for is with potatoes, with tater tots, and
I've seen people, like, put it on eggs, like, on breakfast food. I had a friend who used to put it in his Kraft dinner, which is, like, the literal worst use of it.
Oh, yeah. I know someone who does that. That's right.
And when you say Kraft dinner, that's just what we would call mac and cheese, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the cheap boxed mac and cheese, not like real mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. I mean, it's weird even if I didn't know it was mac and cheese. It's weird.
Well, because Kraft makes it.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, anything that you could potentially call a Kraft dinner, you don't want to smother that in ketchup. So that's why I was just clarifying that. It's grosser than you think it sounds. It's weird, yeah. This is a great podcast. We're doing great.
Talking about food, man. All about food. We should have a old man corner or old person corner, and then food corner. I think start every podcast with that.
Just watch the downloads trickle away.
I mean, you've dropped the what are you drinking question, so you gotta replace it with some kind of edibles.
We had to straighten up. It was starting to catch up to us.
I'm drinking water. I got some ginger ale over here. I got lemon lime Gatorade. Like you're
drinking everything.
I'm not drinking a whole lot of alcohol lately, but yeah, this is just what's on my desk right now.
Was that you wanting us to ask what you're drinking, Pam? Are you drinking something tonight?
Oh, I mean, I'm having a beer.
Hell yeah!
Like, it's a Lost Craft lemon lime sour.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that sounds like a Pearl beer.
Very cool.
Who makes it?
Too. Lost Craft.
Oh, that's the. I thought you were just being clever. Lost Craft. Okay. Yeah, the sourer the better. Like she loves that kind of stuff. I can't stand it.
I didn't used to. It kind of gave me like a tummy ache, but we're good now. Me and sours, we can agree.
It feels like I can't digest it or something. I don't know what's wrong with me. Next email, we've got, hey, Alex and Trav. Love the podcast. You are doing a great job. Thank you. Question for Alex. When the Switch Online service first announced that it was doing SNES games, you said you didn't have a Switch, and I said, okay, no prob. You recently said in an episode that you still don't have a Switch. This is me yelling at my phone, why don't you have a Switch? Still love the podcast. Keep up the good work. Idea for Trav. You should start a GoFundMe page for Alex to get a Switch. The new Mario-themed Switch just came out. Love the podcast. You are really two drunk friends talking about video games, and it's great. Sorry this email is too long, Terrence. And as of February 17th, I still don't have a Switch.
I like that Terrence would scream at you, then tell you were doing a great job, and then come back to it again. That's a good email, Terrence. That's a way to keep us off balance.
I want a Switch. It's not a matter of like I'm unable to obtain one. It's not like I'm like Indiana Jones looking for the Ark or something like that, like Lost Covenant or whatever. But it would just end up gathering dust alongside my 3DS. Like I just wouldn't be able to give it the time it deserves based on how much I would pay for it.
I get that.
Now that however, there was a Mario Golf game announced today for Switch as part of the, whatever you call it, the Direct. And that may end up getting, that may be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I may end up getting it just for that. Because I love golf games. Mario Golf for 3DS was great. What else is on Switch? What else should I get? Odyssey?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild's fun.
I don't know if I'd like Breath of the Wild that much. It's not really my thing. I don't really like open world stuff.
It's a huge time sink too, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Odyssey and the other thing.
Yeah.
That works. And golf. So yeah. But yeah, that's just 2 games right there. And once I crank through those, then all of a sudden it's like, November 24th. And that's how long it takes me to freaking beat these games, because I play like, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time. And yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't do it justice because I wouldn't play it that much.
You'll have to wait for the next iteration to come out and get one cheap and then catch up that way.
That would work, yeah.
That's how I do things. I wait 30 years, then I buy the thing I wanted, then I play it a bunch, then I start a YouTube channel about it.
It'd be cool if they released another, I don't know if they've done this yet, maybe they have, released like an all-portable version, but with a bigger screen.
I don't think so. Maybe. They released one where you couldn't take the controllers off and it was just strictly portable, but I don't know if the screen was bigger.
Yeah, well, if they do that with a bigger screen, like the XL style screen, that would be cool.
Cool. Make it happen, Terrence. Get with Nintendo and get them to make the Switch for Alex. So
Doug Bowser, get him on the line.
Yeah. Dougie Doug. All right. Thanks for the email, Terrence. We appreciate that. And everyone, thank you for those emails. Let's just talk to Pam now. Let's cut out the other questions and all the emails. Let's just see what's Pam up to. Pam, you play a lot of modern games, which I mean comparatively, I think.
Compared to us.
What's good these days? What you working on that came out in the last 6 months?
In the last 6 months. I'm trying to think of what's new. I was playing Cyber Shadow, which just came out recently, although it looks old. And I'm honestly not that sold on it. It's not as fun to move around as it should be when you're a ninja, I find. Like, I really think that you should be able to duck in this game, and you can't.
You can't duck?
And you can't duck.
Maybe it's got a bad back like you. Maybe that's...
Maybe. And I just got an ability to, like, do a dash, which, like, finally speeds things up a little. But, like, I'm pretty sure I'm more than halfway through the game when this ability finally came out. So, I don't know. I've kind of tabled this one for now. It's just really difficult. Like, I just did a whole bunch of really hard shit in Hollow Knight, and I was feeling so good about my platforming skills. And then I start playing Cyber Shadow, and, like, second stage, I'm just dying all over the place. And so it made me feel bad about myself.
Did you like Shovel Knight? Because it's kind of the same pedigree, right? Or, like, similar, at least, in style.
Yeah, I really like Shovel Knight.
Huh.
It was much more fun to move around, and it just like borrowed from so many different like NES games that I liked, like Mario and Mega Man and all that stuff. So
yeah, I was watching my co-host Steve play some Cyber Shadow on his Twitch channel, and I usually will flip on his Twitch channel when I'm editing probably this podcast, and just to have some background. And I couldn't help but notice how good the soundtrack was for Cyber Shadow. Do you at least like the music? Do you think that's good?
Yeah, I do like the music.
Nice.
The thing with the what do you call it? The I was gonna say Hollow Knight, Shovel Knight comparison though is that the Shovel Knight sprite is big, and there's a certain feel to it that is much different than Cyber Shadow. I did play a little bit of Cyber Shadow and got really frustrated with it almost immediately, mostly because you can't duck. And there's like other stuff I'm reading about where it's like to dash, you press forward twice. The game doesn't let you don't switch. You can't switch any of this stuff around. Plus, Shovel Knight gives you a lot more flexibility where you've got that sweet ass Link style Zelda 2 downward thrust, which makes things like so much more forgiving. And so you can actually jump and like, oh, here's this guy in my way. I'm gonna bounce on him with my shovel. Whereas Cyber Shadow is not really that kind of game. It's more of a Ninja Gaiden type game where I'm starting to call these like Arcus games, Trav.
Oh, yeah, there's old speedrunner there, yeah.
Yeah, he's the Ninja Gaiden speedrunner guy, and he makes these games look so easy because I'd imagine once you get really good at Cyber Shadow, it's probably a freaking blast to play because it really looked like the demo footage makes it look awesome because you're just flying around, you're going a million miles an hour. But when you start to play this one, it's pretty rigid. It's I don't know. I don't like how small your guy is. That's just me. But yeah. I'm not crazy about it yet. I would like to do a video on it eventually, but for whatever reason, anytime I talk about modern games, nobody seems to really give that much of a crap. So I don't know.
Fine. Okay, so Cyber Shadow, generally not liked on this podcast, it seems. I've not played it, though, so whatever. But Pam, I did catch you playing the Medium there. That was one that people were telling me I would like because I don't know, maybe they think I'm weird or something. But what do you think of that one?
It was all right. I just finished it yesterday, actually. It looks very good. Like, it's very technically impressive. It does this thing where you are in like the real world and in the spirit world at the same time, and you can kind of sort of like flip between them, and they both have their own soundtracks, and it's kind of cool. It's not the scariest of scary games, and I wouldn't even really call it a survival horror, more of a like spooky adventure game. But it's fairly similar to other Bloober Team games like Observer or I guess Blair Witch, but a lot of puzzles. There's this monster in it though that's super creepy. It just, the things it says to you while it's hunting you are just like, ugh, like it's gross. I don't like it, but it's really creepy and very effective. But the story kind of goes in all kinds of wacky directions, and it's a little bit uneven, but I generally enjoyed my time with it, and it's not too long, which I always like.
Huh, dag nabbit, this is only for Windows and Xbox?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes.
No, it's not for PS4 or 5. That sucks, because I was going to suggest my girlfriend get this one, because she loves psychological horror stuff like this, even if it slants more toward adventure. So it sounds like it'd be her thing, but...
It does kind of sound like a Pearl time, yeah.
Yeah, but...
No Xbox.
The game will not... No PlayStation version has been announced. Boo! But yeah, okay, so it's in line with the rest of the stuff they've made, though, like Blair Witch and Observer. That's good to know. I have not played any of that stuff, so... But it does look cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think Observer is my favorite of the ones I've played.
The Bloober Team stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what recent game out of the last, I don't know, we here at the Drunk Friends Podcast Institute, we do our research. So I went back and watched your favorite games list, and you had, I think it was the Planescape Torment as your number one game. Has anything come close to that recently since you made that game? Or, I'm sorry, since you made that video?
Disco Elysium.
Oh, okay.
Which is a very similar kind of game.
Yeah.
But it's, definitely another one with absolutely fantastic writing and even better role-playing capabilities. So, yeah, that's sort of taken over as my like best RPG ever.
Any other, is it in any other category? Like any other, what other games are you into? Like in terms of, there's games like that, but like what's probably like the most off the wall thing that you like? Like, do you dig like a Mario Tennis here and there or anything like that?
I don't know if there's any like sporty games. I tend to like sort of strategy games or weird FMV games, which they're still coming out with every once in a while. I mean, another one that would probably be like up high in that favorites list. It's not really a weird game, but Outer Wilds.
Oh, sure.
Definitely up there.
What's his name in our chat? Josh stands that game quite a bit.
Oh, Hype Man? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's just like a perfect mix of like exploration and like figuring things out on your own and dying and learning something from it and trying again.
Well, speaking of FMV games, the past couple weeks I've started what the hell's wrong with me? I've started to put together a Sega CD, big old project kind of a thing where I do the thing where I talk a little bit about 20, 25 games or something like that. It's like a 10-minute video or something like that. So is there, and I know I'm pretty sure I remember seeing you post I think you have the Lunar games on Sega CD or something like that. You're a big Snatcher fan. Am I getting that right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do like Snatcher.
So what other Sega CD stuff would you consider to be must play? I say FMV because I'm trying to avoid that stuff.
Oh. Specifically FMV? I think the Dune game is fantastic. It's
Dune.
also on PC. Yeah. But
Okay.
Dune is like a really cool mix of, it's almost like a point and click adventure part of the time, but then it's also a very slow moving real time strategy after a little while. So
it would make sense within the Dune universe though, because are you like managing resources and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, you're sending like Fremen to go and mine spice, and then you're sending people to go and like train with like military stuff and go out and fight the Harkonnen. And sometimes you can like plant things which will decrease spice production, but it'll mean that the Harkonnen are no longer interested in those bases. So yeah, you go out and you get like a bunch of equipment and people. And
that sounds like something I would dig for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a really good, I feel like it's a really good way of bringing Dune to a video game. Like, it doesn't get into like the really deep kind of story stuff, but mechanically it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, how would you get into the story stuff in a video game? There's so much of it, and it's so all over the place. So yeah. Okay, I'll add that to my ever-expanding list here. I've got, I've found some really freaking good. I had no idea Sega CD had such good stuff. It's almost been like memed into having nothing but like, Sewer Shark and, stupid stuff like that. But it's got like Silpede and Soul Star is a really fun like Star Fox type game, rail shooter. There's the Lunar games. There's Popful Mail.
Robo-Alest is another good shoot 'em up.
What's that? Which one? Oh, Robo-Alest. That's right. Yeah, I've had more than one person mention that one. I haven't gotten around to that one yet. But anybody listening to this, I implore you to go look up footage for a game called Road Blaster FX for Sega CD. It is freaking crazy looking because it looks like you're playing a Saturday morning cartoon. And it is, I had never seen this before. I mean, I had, but I thought it was just like an old school Laserdisc arcade game. But the fact that they were able to pull this off on Sega CD is pretty freaking cool. And the way it works is just, there's like hand-drawn animation, and you're swerving in and out of traffic, and it's pretty freaking awesome. It's one of those games where I can't help but feel like it was like custom made for me when I play it. So it's really, really fun. So So anybody listening, that's the SNES Drunk Pick of the Week. I don't know. I guess that's a thing now, but yeah, I'm really digging me some Sega CD lately.
Yeah, I really like it just because it's got such weird games on it. Like, I like the FMV stuff, even though I know that most of them on Sega CD aren't that great. But I don't know, they just do really cool things, like Prize Fighter, which is probably one of the less well-known ones, where it's just like a boxing game. So it's kind of like Punch-Out, except it's like footage of real people, and you're like punching and dodging and weaving and like...
That's right. That's the game they always made sure to show on the commercials and stuff whenever they advertised Sega CD, and it made it look like it was like a real boxing match. Mm-hmm. But when you actually play it, it's really kind of janky.
Yeah.
I remember playing that at Funkoland way back in the day. You still there, Trav?
Yeah, man. I was just thinking, I bought that game kind of recently and tried it out. I don't think I landed a single punch. I was a button mashing. I was ducking and weaving. I was even in my chair ducking and weaving and sparring and juking, but no dice. But it was fun. I like the little story it threw in there. It had some of that the 50s
like
flavor kind of almost. I don't know. It's like go get 'em,
black
guy.
And white. Yeah. It can't be a true boxing game without the short bald guy that's like the Rocky cliche thing.
Exactly.
Does it have real boxers in it though? Like real. Is there like a 2-player mode where you pick between people, or is it just that one?
I think it's just the one
single-player campaign.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's just the one single player.
Huh.
Yeah, pretty limited, but kind of neat, I guess. It's kind of how I feel
you
about
have
the
any
Sega CD too. Is like it's just neat. Like I'll try anything on it. That's how neat I think it is. It's like the 3DO to me. It's like, just put something in there, see what it does. This is ridiculous. Try something else.
3DO.
Yeah.
Man, I remember they really went all out, at least in my area growing up with the 3DO. They had like a huge display at the Best Buy that was by our house, or closest to our house, I should say. And they had like 3 monitors playing Gex. And yeah, I remember playing it and being like, yep, these are sure some fancy graphics. Yep, look at that Gex. It's really detailed, really, really detailed. You could see him breathing and stuff. But at the end of the day, it was just freaking Mario. It's just a platformer. Like, there's nothing all that new or innovative. Was it well done? Yeah. Am I going to spend $900 to get it? No. So
he had a lot of sass, though, Alex. So much sass. He was snarky.
Attitude. You wore sunglasses.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Sounds worth it to me. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, but they really went balls to the wall with the advertisement and the presentation and all that at that particular Best Buy. I don't think anybody ever bought it though. It was. Anytime I went by there was nobody playing them. I felt kind of bad for them. So maybe they got some pity purchases, but
maybe.
Yeah. Other than that. Yeah, Sega CD is one thing I'm working on. The other thing I'm working on, it's funny you say you're playing more Genesis, Pam, because the other thing I want to get into is Genesis Disney games. I want to get into every Sega Genesis Disney game that exists. And apparently there's 22 of them, including 2 Beauty and the Beast games. But there's also Math Antics with Disney's 101 Dalmatians. There's also, what else is there? Oh, there's Gargoyles. For some reason, I have not really played this game yet.
It's kind of tough.
It's based on
but it's fun. It looks good.
It's tough?
I thought so, but forget I said that. I'm just shitty at games all around the board. It was tough for me.
Oh, no, I don't mean like you think it's tough. I mean like, oh, it's hard? Like, that's kind of weird for a Disney game, but because I've hardly played it, so I need to get in on that, though. But, and of course, there's the Illusion games with Mickey Mouse, which some people swear by and say they're like, oh, they're way better than the what do you call it, Magical Quest games on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, because I love the Magical Quest games, so I'm interested to dive into those too.
Cool.
Do you have anybody else have any experience with any Disney Genesis stuff?
Isn't Fantasia one?
Yeah, it is.
Because that one I think is also extremely hard. But again, I'll just go ahead and say I'm really bad at video games. But I thought, like, for a Mickey Mouse game, it was aggravating. So I'm interested to hear what you think about that one, because that specifically sticks out to me as a cushion puncher.
Yeah, I was going to say, are all these platformers?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, I think mostly. What have I think I've only played a couple. I played Castle of Illusion, which I did think was really good. And then Aladdin, which is also good, also very difficult at times, but like really great animations.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I have Belle's Quest, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, I can't wait to revive the 100-year-old argument, like which is better, the Super Nintendo Aladdin or the Genesis Aladdin. And then how dumb is it that he has a sword in the Genesis one, even though he never had a sword in the movie, et cetera, et cetera. Good times all around.
You gotta get Console Wars Dan involved. Have him, call you out or something, or antagonize you as the devil on your shoulder or something.
Yeah, this Fantasia game, I've got a long play up as we're talking here. This game is intensive. Like, you're swimming, you're going all over the place. You're on top of Old Smoky over here. Like, you're like, geez, like this, what don't you do in this game? It does look pretty hard though. There's an absurd amount of enemies on the screen.
Yeah, I just clicked to open it. Yeah, the first minute and a half there. Yeah, I never got past that room. The one with the beige brick. Good luck getting out of there.
Yeah,
and enjoying the
it looks
other
like
28
that's
minutes.
Yeah, it looks like that's kind of your overworld hub that you or maybe not, because it looks like you return to that for some reason.
I don't know, man.
Huh.
Good luck. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, see, I've been putting this one off. This was a Patreon request from like 2 years ago, and I've been putting this off because it's such a big project, and I just don't have time to sit there and play all these what appears to be evidently platformers. Yeah, that's going to be a...
Someone was allowed to request that you just talk about 25 games.
How much did they pay you?
Might want to rethink that.
For only $1, you get to request whatever you want. No, it's pretty much, he just threw it out there. Like, you should start doing, the same kind of videos for Sega Genesis that you do for Super Nintendo. Like, for example, what about the Genesis Disney games? Since blah blah blah, Genesis is more well known for Disney stuff than Super Nintendo ever was, and I thought that was a good point. So I kept a note of it and took down the guy's name and all that sort of stuff. So
cool.
But yeah, that was like 2 years ago. Sorry, George.
Hopefully you're still with us today, George. So yeah, we're pushing time here. We got so excited. We had Old Person Corner. We had Tartar Sauce Corner, which came out of nowhere. Quick little ketchup mayonnaise corner that I thought was pretty good. And then we've moved in here. We had
how many corners does this room have?
Several corners. You went on you did a pick of the week thing that we've never done before. And so it's a crazy podcast. But I thought maybe we could ask Pam. She's doing this uplink thing again, I think. Is that right?
For the first time.
I don't know why I said again. I'm really sorry about that. You're doing the uplink thing? Yeah, okay, great. What's that going to be like? When's it going to be, and what are you doing?
So it's Saturday, the 20th.
Crap.
I don't know if this... Yeah, okay.
How did it go?
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
That's fantastic. I'm glad it went well. Would you do it again?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Do it again.
Fantastic.
The audience was great.
Huh. I'm really glad it worked out.
Nice to talk to Daria. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I did it last year, but I had to turn it down this year just because I got so anxious. The nerves weren't. I just don't have the stomach for stuff like that.
But you said we would do a Japan tour.
You're on camera all the time anyway, so you don't care.
That's true. I don't mind. Yeah, it's the coming up with an idea part that is difficult. Like, they invited me. I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then they emailed me again like 3 months later. Like, so what do you want your panel to be about? I was like, oh, shit.
They did the same thing with me, and only I shot them an idea first, and then I never heard back for another few months. And then like the day before, they're like, oh yeah, it sounds good. That's good. Yep, sure. And I'm like, well, wait, what are the expectations here? What am I supposed to do? So I got all worked up about all that. So I'm glad to hear yours went well though.
Thank you.
Me too. Okay, I guess we can move in. We have a couple listener questions here. The first one from Charles. He asks, if you could bring back any game for a do-over, like it showed real potential, but they just dropped the ball or they didn't have the technology to pull it off, what would you bring back?
Well, it seems like a lot of those have already been done. You know what I mean? Like even stuff like we were just talking Sega CD. Even that has a remember the game Out of This World?
That's actually the first game that came to mind when I thought of this.
Yeah, that has a really good version of it on Sega CD.
Okay.
So
I'm trying to think of like
I don't
really
even know what
ambitious
to pick
games
for this. Well, I mean, there's if you think of like overly ambitious ports, like Populous for Game Boy. But, you know, I don't know if you could exactly, you know, you could work on that till the cows come home, and that would still not be that great. Oh, speaking of which, speaking of do-overs, there's a guy out there, his name is Vitor Vilela. He lives in Brazil, and he is a genius codes master, I guess. I don't know what to call him, but he's the guy that's responsible for all the SA1 patches on all these old Super Nintendo games. Like he did one for Gradius 3 to speed the game up and get rid of all the slowdown. He did the same thing for I think Super Castlevania 4. Super R-Type was his most recent one, I think. And now he's messing with the game Race Drivin', which is freaking hilarious because that game, just look at any screenshot of that game and it's just funny looking because it's so jank looking.
Is that the one you spoofed? It is, right?
Yeah, it is. Where I spent about 5 minutes on the intro and about 2 seconds on the game. He decided to just mess with the code of that game and kind of redo it as if he could try and save this game. And he's having a blast doing it on Twitter, and it's freaking hysterically funny because it's clear that the game is like running so fast and so smoothly that it's going beyond the rest of the game's capabilities. Like there's a replay function, for example, in that game that shows like if you crash and burn, the replay shows your crash, from all sorts of different camera angles and stuff. Well, he sped the game up so fast and it runs so smoothly now that when he crashes, the replay runs like less than a second because it only can capture so many frames. So he just crashes and then it's like, and then it's back to the beginning of the game.
Wow.
I don't know. It's funnier when you see it.
I'm sure.
Vitor Vilela on Twitter.
But yeah, I mean, that's a game that was obviously ambitious, but at the same time, I don't know that it needs a do-over.
Well, he's giving it the old college try anyway, just because he can, I guess.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I feel like if I thought hard enough, I could come up with answers, but nothing's just coming to me. You know what I mean? I'm in one of those situations.
Yeah, there is one game that my dad played. My dad, maybe you can relate to this, Trav. My dad was one of those guys where he'd go to the CompUSA bargain bin, and he'd see like a game in there for like $4, $3. But how can this game be bad? It's got 3 CDs that come with it. That's a lot of content. I need to get this. So he got this game called Mabus, and you can look this up. It's spelled Maabus, and it's just a trash heap. Like it's completely unintuitive. It's slow as hell. You get dropped off on this like island in this tank, and it's completely radioactive, I guess the island is, and you have to like take out all these mutated beasts, and you've got full motion video of like these army generals telling you what to do and stuff like that, but it's just a disaster. So I want to see a remake of that in honor of my dad.
Yeah, I looked up a screenshot. That is bad.
It's pretty freaking bad, yeah. I still have it. I don't know how to get it to run, but I still have it.
I can think of 2. They're both PC games. The first one is Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, which is, I think came out in 2001, and it was developed by Troika, who, with all of their games, like Vampire the Masquerade, ended up being kind of buggy and rushed at the end, but it's this really cool RPG with, like, magic versus technology and, like, very, like, political stories and things in it, but it's just a little ugly. The combat's a little garbage. If they could just remake that again with like one of those newer isometric CRPG engines that people are using now, like for Divinity Original Sin or Pillars of Eternity or something, I think it could be a really awesome game.
I've never heard it. That was the longest name of a game I've ever heard.
It's like, is that a Kingdom Hearts sequel or something?
And like none of them were actually words I was familiar with, so it was strange. But I Googled it and I got close enough to Google was like, you mean this? So Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, with magic with a K, of course. So I've never heard
Birth by Sleep, part 25. I don't know.
And was that okay? That was just one, and then you had a second one.
The second one is a game called Creatures, which was like I don't know, kind of like a sim where you had these weird, cute little creatures and they would hatch and you were supposed to like teach them. Like apparently they could like learn language and you would have to show them like what's good to eat and what's not. And eventually they grow up and they would like breed and you would get new creatures and like you could mess with their genetics and stuff. And I don't know if I was just bad at the game or if at that point like the AI just wasn't nearly where it needed to be. But I think with like shiny new AI, that could be a really interesting game.
Yeah, I looked up screenshots. It looks, dare I say, cute. Huh. Mm-hmm. I came up with an answer while Pam was describing the game with the very long name. She mentioned PC games, and a PC game that I liked as a kid, but I thought could use a little more refinement. Maybe it was just my slow-ass compact Presario at the time, but the Black and White, I like that game quite a bit, and I think a modernization of that with some better AI and stuff could be fun.
That'd be a good idea, yeah.
Speak God with the big kitty cats and stuff, yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that game in a million years.
We do have one more question. I think this is a good Alex question here. Dylan asks, is there any sport that you don't think has enough of a virtual presence? Do we need more Jai or snooker games, for example? Is there any sport out there you're just itching, Alex, itching to play? I think curling might be a good answer there.
Yeah, give me a curling game made by US Gold
There you go.
or something like that, or a Mindscape cricket game or something. I was really surprised to find out there was only one out of all the frickin', hundreds and hundreds of Super Nintendo games. There's only one cricket game, which I thought was kind of weird. So I thought there'd be a lot more of that.
Is that even a North American game, the cricket game?
No, it's not even a Japanese game, I think. I think it's only PAL regions. Any sport that you don't think, no, there doesn't need to be any more. We can only handle so much Ken Griffey Jr., I guess. So, but yeah, no, I don't know. Any sport. The only other sports, it's like we can play them ourselves, like the ones I can think of, like darts. I'd rather just go play darts.
Well, there's a darts game on the NES. I was thinking, though, the video games are a really good way for me to learn the rules of sports I'm not familiar with. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I didn't have exposure to soccer growing up because there wasn't a flat piece of land for 230 miles around me. So playing soccer games, I was like, oh, when it goes out of bounds, no one gives a shit. I thought that was a big deal before. Guess not. You just run and go get it and throw it back in. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But rugby, that's a sport I've always been curious about. And there are a few rugby games out there, but not many. That could be fun.
Yeah, maybe if EA got a hold of them. Maybe they have, and like nobody cares.
Maybe it just didn't come out.
Rugby EA.
Pam, you got a sports kink that hasn't been satisfied yet through video games? I don't know. Don't know why I said it like that.
I can't. When you put it like that, I can. Like 25 years ago, I would have said like equestrian, like give me some more horse games, like show jumping, cross country, get some like Western like calf roping in there, like
some dressage,
all of that stuff. That would be cool.
My wife would agree with that. She was a horse girl growing up, horsewoman now. I don't mean that in like she's part horse. I'm not married to a singer. She's a huge fan of equestrian sports and horses in general, and yeah, I think she would have really enjoyed that. But I think was it the DS and Game Boy Advance era went wild on some horse themed games there, so probably flooded the market with horses, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah, as a joke one year, it was part of Super Derek's Secret Santa thing way back in like 2014, I think. Somebody bought me Let's Ride Together, I think it was called, or something like that, where you take care of your own horse. And I thought it was extremely frustrating because you couldn't just take your horse and just go like do stuff before you had to like use the extremely unintuitive UI to like put hay somewhere and like fill the thing with water and then brush it and then clean the brush and all that sort of stuff. It's like,
Didn't you have to
this
make a
could be
video
better.
out of it? Is that something that
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still on my channel somewhere.
I gotta go watch that. I don't think I
I
missed
should
it.
probably find it. I can find it and link it. It'll take 2 seconds.
Gotcha.
'Cause it's like called like Let's Ride Dreamer or something like that. yeah, it is. Yo, December 25th, 2014. Wow, I actually published it on Christmas.
Well, go check that out, folks, if you're
For your viewing
hankering.
pleasure.
Yeah. Well, do we have any other answers for this little question?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, like now I want to play some darts. Let's play some darts.
Yeah.
Anybody a good darts player?
I'm a good darts player.
So you'd kick both our asses then? Because I suck.
I'm not a good darts player. The door of my bedroom would testify in court that I'm not a good darts player.
Any bar games. They should just make a bar games video game.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I feel like that might be a VR thing already. If not, it should be.
Well, it should definitely be a quarantine thing because I miss going to bars and playing pool and there's always a buckshot hunter or whatever that game is called. And there's always a golden tee there. Sometimes they'll have something advanced like one of those what do you call them? Those weird like balancing like where you have to guide the marble through the maze. You ever seen those before? Where like you tilt this board back and forth. I don't know what you call those, but there was a bar I went to once that had one of those, and it was always entertaining to watch people that were hammered try and just pump their quarters into that thing and constantly fail.
Well, I think we've done a full episode. I want to say that we had several corners. We talked about video games even a couple times there, and it was pretty fun. So Pam,
Let's
thanks.
talk more about food. What's everyone's go-to sandwich?
Oh man, I'm basic.
If you're at a restaurant and you got to get a sandwich, what's your go-to?
Maybe a Reuben for me.
Ah, you stole my answer.
Oh, sorry.
You stole everyone's answer. It's different if I'm making it, but if I'm in a restaurant, a Reuben's good.
Reuben's good because like it's really hard to make the right way, and it's too many like specialty ingredients. Like you got to get sauerkraut and marble rye.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, any smoked meat sandwich that comes with a pickle, I'm happy.
You're a pickle person?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so at any time, okay, because I always feel guilty when I throw away. I usually take a bite out of the dill pickle, but then I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that, and then I throw it away. But I still feel guilty, like, man, everybody throws these away. But it's good to know somebody out there is eating those dill pickles. Now I feel less bad.
I didn't know there were people out there throwing away dill pickles.
Yep, that's me.
Monster. Okay, I'm going to try
Sweet
one more.
pickles are way better.
All right.
No.
No, I like.
No.
Give me the deal. Give me the deal.
Ah, sweet pickles, man. I used to eat sweet pickles just for fun when I was a kid. Like, just hand in the jar, pull out, like, 4 or 5. It was good times. Great childhood.
Your fingers smelled weird, but that's to be expected.
We've gone from pickles to tomatoes.
Yeah.
These are the oldest conversations I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I've been trying to do us a favor. I've been trying to get to the sign off here, but every time I do, someone yells a food. So I'm going to try one more
What
time here.
about horseradish?
I can do it. I like it. I like a nice thick spread every now and then. Not every now and then.
My dad is a huge horseradish guy, but I've never liked it, ever.
Really?
My dad's a weirdo, though, when it comes to food. He's
Do you
very
like
strange.
wasabi?
It depends.
Okay.
Context matters in that sense.
Sure.
Sometimes I can't handle it, but if I'm in the right mood, I'll take on the challenge.
Pam, wasabi?
I don't really have it often, but I'm fine with it
Mm-hmm.
if it's there.
Do you mix it with the soy? Do a little soy action? Is that something you're not supposed to do? Is that like putting ketchup on steak? I never know.
I don't know.
always-
That's a good question. I've never heard of that.
I try to hide from the sushi chef when I do it. I don't want to offend anyone.
You got it like under the table, like mixing it on your
quick mix.
plate on the salad dish.
I bring my own in a shake bottle. But yeah. All right, here we go. I'm going to try one more time. Pam, thanks once again for taking the time to hang out with us. We really do appreciate it. You're a return guest. It's a rarity on this show, so you're special to us, and we liked hanging out.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to hear I'm special, and I always enjoy being on the show.
Yeah. We have to say that because Alex talked bad about you a couple episodes ago, so.
I did not talk bad.
Eh.
I thought it was funny.
You said I was like the worst guest? Is that what you said?
Pretty sure he said those exact words.
I seriously, like, my mind went to, like, what would be the funniest person to pick out as the worst guest because they're, like, like, just the nicest person. But, yeah. Well, I don't even remember the last time I brought her up. I think it was because you captured all that, like, Suikoden footage. Mm-hmm. And I just imagine, I like imagining that because I imagine my computer trying to handle all that footage and it just bursts into flames. And it just explodes because for whatever reason my editing software crashes spectacularly when it gets too much, when something's too long or too big of a file, like it doesn't know what to do with it or something, and it dies. So good times.
Great.
Go ahead, Trav. Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, it was your long-form apology to Pam. I had to let you get that in. So, all right, everyone. That's been another Drunk Friend podcast. As always, you can reach out to us with questions or comments at drunkfriendpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. We'll respond or read it here eventually. Sorry, we're slow. Please head over to the polymedianetwork.com polymedianetwork.com website if you want to hear more podcasts as good, if not a little bit better than this one. Who knows? Tales of the Lesser Medium has a new series about Half-Life, which is pretty funny if I do say so myself. There's Petey's Power Hour. It's pretty good. Polykill, Indie Quest, and more. Oh, sorry. I was Googling Tales of the Lesser Medium. I didn't realize you had new episodes. Yeah.
Which you should all be doing right now anyway. Mm-hmm. If you're not interested in sending an email, it's not a big deal. Just give us a rating and review on the podcast app of your choice, and that'll help us out big time.
Big time. You can find us all on social media. On Twitter, I'm at TravPlaysGames. Alex is, of course, at SNESDrunk, and you can find Pam at Jasila_.
And as always, the music you heard at the beginning and you're hearing right now was composed by our friend Coolor. The track you hear is called Electric Star Bounce, and you can find a link to more of his music on the Buzzsprout podcast page. And that Josh Leslie guy we referenced earlier, he did our thirst-quenching logo. Thanks to him.
That's right. That's actually the best you've read that sign-off in a long time. Congratulations there, Alex. Be sure to catch us all on YouTube. Thanks for listening.
And we hope you have a great rest of your day.